a citation or something like that out to Hawaii. Otherwise, I'm going to either that or buy an aircraft carrier and stick it out in the ocean and do a landing on that and refuel.
Right, Livestream is up and running.
And Dave Senior, can I have my tailplane back, please, from last night?
It wasn't last night, that was this morning.
Yeah, well, for you, well, last night for me, this morning for you, in the morning, yeah.
No, tomorrow.
I'm going to send a memo to Jonathan about creating an air police to adjudicate on people like you, buzzing me like that. Scared the living hell out of me.
Didn't you hear my guns go off like it was in a...
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, I saw you buzzing around. I was having a sneak preview too, so that's all right.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not in a Spitfire tonight. I'm in a Cessna 172.
I thought we were supposed to be in 152s.
Well, I thought I'd go one better.
Are we supposed to be in 152s?
Well, that's what the instructions said, Jonathan. If in doubt, read the instructions.
I didn't read that.
I'm going to jump back out.
Yeah, definitely said 152.
Right, I'm going to go and grab the 152.
It's got to be one of the in-sim standard ones too. We can't have that flash one with the autopilot.
I like the 152. I spent far too long in it, actually.
Yeah, it's nice to be back in it.
One.
I just noticed there's an update for Honda Jet.
Yeah, it was appeared yesterday, I think.
Only just spied it.
There was two of them, wasn't there? There was the Honda Jet and something else they updated as well. I can't remember what.
Jet as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Cirrus one.
Good evening all.
Evening.
Evening.
Yeah, the other included plane I've been flying around quite a bit in the last 2 weeks has been the Jenny.
Yeah, I haven't really tried that. I did a quick flight in it when it first came out.
It's very slow, but it's also great fun. I was doing takeoff and landings with it this morning at the, I forgot the name of the airstrip, the one in Scotland where you can only land during low tide.
Yep.
Oh, on that beach, yeah.
Yeah, one of the news channels here in the States did a little blurb on that airport. I thought, that looks kind of cool. I'll have to go check that out in the sim.
Good evening, all.
Evening.
Evening.
Is my microphone level okay?
Yep.
Loud and clear.
Thanks.
Anyone watching footage from the Oshkosh gathering?
Not yet.
Been watching a few YouTube highlight videos. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I caught a glimpse of one of my favorites. There was a tri-motor on there.
Yeah, I saw that too. I really enjoyed the Connie coming in and going out.
And it looks like that they had quite a few Corsairs flying around too, so that's always kind of cool.
Well, I'm seeing everybody now, I think.
Yeah, everybody's at the parking area, aren't they?
So, Jonathan, you seen any more of that slowdown in the frame rate with the grass, taxiing through the grass at all?
No, it's a bug in that aeroplane.
Just the airplane itself,
Yeah,
then? The
yeah.
Volanta?
Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, apparently several other people have seen it as well.
The plane's fun to fly, though.
It is.
Don't know what I'm reading on the labels, but I kind of figured it out.
I went through Google Translate and translated a lot of them. It's interesting. It didn't occur to me until afterwards that all of the labels are in the Latin alphabet, which I went reading after that. And of course, yeah, the Ukrainian alphabet is the Latin alphabet.
Interesting.
Well, not Ukrainian, sorry. It's not from Ukraine, is it? Oh, Christ.
Czechoslovakia?
Czech, yes, Czech, sorry, yeah. It was, yeah, it's Czechia now, but it used to be Czechoslovakia.
Okay, gotcha.
Czech Republic.
Evening, everyone.
Evening, Lee.
Evening.
I think I actually like the 45 better than I do the 145, only if for the view, because that one window that opens up on the 145 is right in front of my nose.
Yep.
Flew it up from Madison yesterday up to the Fisk arrival and over to Oshkosh just for the heck of it. That was kind of fun.
I should have tried to get my cousin to be on the call. I haven't had a chance to talk to her all day. She lives just up the coast from here. She could have been our tour guide for the evening.
Yeah, because I'm definitely not it. I think the only thing I'm going to be able to add today is that there are 472 wineries in the area that we'll be flying over today.
I think I've drunk most of them.
Was that simulated, sir?
No, for real.
Did you say stimulating or simulating?
Simulate.
And just a gentle reminder, there's only one stopping point, gentlemen. So, David, you'll just have to have your tongue hanging out.
No, I should have a coffee. Is it this David you're talking to?
Yes, I am talking to you.
Yeah.
There's no liquid refreshments, only of that type.
Oh,
Did I not put Valley in for the coffee break?
Yeah, you did put a coffee break in. About the fifth vineyard, I think.
So Ellis, they don't have a coffee shop. Well, they probably do have a coffee shop. I should rephrase. They have a wine tasting shop at the Charles M Schulz Airport.
Well, all our wineries out home, there's only one area that I know of that don't, but just about every winery has a tasting room.
At Charles M Schulz Airport, is named after the inventor, or if you call him inventor, of Peanut.
Or the artist.
Yeah, cartoon character.
Oh, Snoopy.
Yeah.
Charlie Brown.
Gee, looks a lot like my logo picture on my profile. Yeah, so if you go to Sonoma County Airport, you have to visit, I guess, the flight deck tasting room and bottle shop. It's open until 11.
Thank you. I don't know what it's like over in this neck of the woods in the Napa Valley, as they call it, isn't it? The sea area.
Yeah.
Do they hike the prices in the bottle shops? Like out here, we have a real problem. You go to the winery tasting room, and you have to pay nearly twice as much than what you can buy it down the road. The same wine down the road at the bottle store. They really rip you off.
Yeah, that is a rip-off.
So interestingly enough, I think most of you who are familiar with me know I live in North Carolina in the U.S. We also have a number of wineries here, and actually a very large one is actually located in Asheville. It's on the Biltmore estate. It's the largest private residence in the United States.
I have toured it.
My sister lives in Asheville.
Yeah, my daughter lives up in that part of North Carolina. She's a school teacher.
My sister's retired. She's just a little younger than me.
Yeah, I've got a flight plan cooking for that area too, so the Biltmore house would probably be a good waypoint.
That sounds like fun. Looking forward to it.
Oh, that was interesting. What Jonathan was telling me about I think it's our third airport, Nut Tree.
Yeah, I put a link in the notes on Discord about it. So Nut Tree effectively invented the motorway services, and they were the most famous service stop in the world basically until the 90s, and there was it was always privately owned, and a family argument destroyed the business. But yeah, they started out, they were an orchard that saw bad times during bad weather one year, so they tried to sell their fruit to the passing traffic on the road that had just been built, and they basically invented the services while they were there, for rest stops.
That's really cool.
They added quite a lot of other stuff, didn't they?
Yeah, they invented a lot of things you expect to see at rest stops, like the kids' play parks, the restaurants, the whole thing. They were first, and they did it sort of 50 years before everybody else.
Overpricing.
That's a standard norm, isn't it, in service stops?
Yeah, there's a really fascinating article. I linked to it in the notes on this flight. The San Francisco Gate newspaper did a big article about the history of it. But there's photographs in the article of it through the kind of the 50s and 60s, and it really was, something else.
Right, I'm going to take off and circle the airfield.
Are we taking off?
I'm already up and buzzing around.
I think the size of this field, I don't need a runway.
Jonathan, you want to take care of the talky bits? And we'll kick off?
Yeah, can do. So it's 8 o'clock, so if anybody hasn't joined us before, welcome to VirtualFlight.Online. We do this most weeks, and there are more and more events throughout the weeks as well, and invitationals like Alice has been doing, covering the globe in short hops and inviting people to join him. So the only real rule we have, we're going to follow the route together. Hopefully everybody's in a Cessna 152 because that was in the notes for the flight. If not, you'll have to fly very slowly to keep up with us. The only real rule is to keep the conversation family friendly. We tend to all be aviation enthusiasts, so most of the conversation will be about airplanes anyway. But yeah, that's the only real rule, so have fun.
Thank you.
I think the first leg this evening is 7 and a bit miles, 272 degrees over to Petaluma. That's where This Week in Tech used to be based, isn't it? I don't know if they still are. Leo Laporte and his various shows.
Good evening, Peter, my travelling companion. Good news, I got those lights working, Peter. Thank you very much. Long last. Very frustrated, but I finally got them working properly.
Evening, Ellis. I'm glad about that. It must have been very frustrating having to reset it every time.
Yeah, it was, but it's fine now. Thank you. I just uninstalled everything, got the latest update, and redid it all, and it worked fine.
Oh, that's good. It can be very frustrating otherwise. Well, by the way, am I coming through loud and clear?
Yes, you are.
You are, yeah.
Thank you.
Evening, Peter.
Good evening, Joe. Are you nice and ready to give us a guided tour?
Oh, it's going to be. I'm short on local knowledge on this one.
Oh, that's all right. That's every time I do one. It's short on knowledge.
472 wineries in the area. I got that for you.
You're forgiven.
You can tell us anything, just sound convincing.
I'll say it with my radio voice and it'll sound official.
That's the way to do it.
And what do they specialise mainly in this area? As far as grape varieties are concerned, anybody know? Chardonnays, I think, predominantly, aren't they?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it's Cab Sav, isn't it?
Sorry, which server are we in?
Oh, yeah. Southeast Asia.
I need to get my cousin. I've messaged my cousin. Let's see if she turns up on Discord. She's got it installed because she uses it for, she does day trading. So I think all the day traders use it as their kind of back channel to find out what deals are going on.
Take it we have set off, haven't we, or we still to circulate?
So someone's commented on the live stream and says it's Pinot in this area, so there you go.
There you go, righto. Thank you.
I'm sure if my cousin was I'm sure if my cousin was on the call, she'd appear on the video chat with a bottle held up and a glass and make us all really jealous.
Have we officially set off yet?
Yes.
Yep, we're on our way.
Very slowly.
We're in wine country tomorrow night in Germany, but I don't know what kind of wine. Oh, I've not been touched a drop, I assure you.
Now there's a slip.
The Rhine, weren't they very renowned for their Rieslings?
I think
In the early days they were, anyway. When I first started
Yeah.
drinking wine.
I
Germany.
think that's what they are there. It's but the area we're in is big wine country.
Everybody in my age group would know Blue Nun.
Yeah.
It's German, wasn't it?
And of course, Baby Sham for the ladies.
Yes. That's Perry, though, isn't it?
I don't know, they renamed it, didn't they? Because the Champagne area of France complained about it being called Baby Sham.
Yeah, but even so, Baby Sham isn't actually... It's made from pears, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fermented pear juice.
I'm going to have to come up with a tour of Scotch distilleries.
Oh, distilleries, yes.
Oh, that's talking business there. No.
Yeah, but nobody will
yeah.
finish the flight.
I'll just be orbiting Lagavulin.
Oh, are we still going to do that thing where we have shots at each airport of whatever the drink is?
Outstanding. 12 hours bottled throttle, sir.
Oh, man,
Nobody will finish the tour.
Well, nobody will finish it together.
Those in Colombia.
All right.
Be all coffee in Colombia, wouldn't
It'd
it?
be like going out for the night, and when you finally get home, you've got an angry somebody's other half saying, "Where have they gone?" You said, "I don't know. They were with us."
Flight Simulator 2024 includes a aircraft retrieval career.
My wife wouldn't be able to accuse me of drinking alone.
If I was on a trip like that, I wouldn't even remember who was with me.
Oh, that's a great thing about Flight Sim. It's 5 o'clock everywhere.
And you can wind the clock back if you've missed it.
Oh, we start at 4 down here. Is the legitimate over the yard arm time. Happy hour's always a couple of hours.
No, happy hour starts at 5 and ends at 4.
The next day.
Happy hour extends as long as they're selling the drinks at half price.
You got it, Peter. You got it.
If you're a 2 at 10, you're a 10 at 2.
Which way we landing? 29.
I'm just following the pack.
I think the way the wind is, it's only 2 knots, so
I was going to say there's no wind today.
Oops, I thought it was a flyover.
Touch and go, isn't it?
yeah. And then it's a 300 and odd degree turn.
It's fine. I'm just orbiting to watch everybody coming in. This actually works really well, having a single type of aircraft on the flight.
I was just thinking the same thing, Jonathan. I'm not going to get buzzed by an A320.
It's working really well because we can see all of the airplanes and it's all nice and smooth. We should do this more often.
Oh yeah. I enjoyed that Faroe Islands tour the other week.
On my big trip home, I'm declaring what aircraft I'm flying, and we tend to, the people that have been coming with me, we jump in the same plane, and that is good. At the moment, I'm sticking to the Caravan and the 182 RG. But I'm going to have to choose something else for the longer legs.
I picked the 152 for 2 reasons. One, to give people an opportunity to reacquaint themselves with it if they haven't been flying it, and most people kind of, quote, move on from it. But it's so slow, it also gives you some time to take in the scenery.
So there's lots of people on the live stream asking, can they join in? Of course you can. We are on the Southeast Asia server in Flight Sim, and we're just at Petaluma at the moment, so you're welcome to join in. The Discord server, I'll put a note in. Actually, if you go to VirtualFlight.Online on the internet, the Discord server is listed right there on the page.
And the Petaluma local, I don't know what the radio station's called, said they've got 500 or 600 complaints about the noise.
Where'd all these pheasants come from?
Well, there's quite a few thousand of them, aren't there?
Right.
Worldwide.
I'll do one more lap and then I'm going to carry on to the next airfield, which is 77 degrees over to Sonoma Sky Ranch. Is it? I think I've been there before. Sky Park, sorry.
Yeah, we did a California tour a couple of months ago, Jonathan. I think there may be a couple of the airstrips that may have overlapped from that.
Yep. Should get some altitude.
Can you remind me, is it multiplayer, all players, or is it...
Yes, all players is the easiest way, yeah.
Okay, live traffic AI, that's all fun?
Yep. The only important one is the all players setting.
At least it's summer here, unlike in the UK.
Yes. It's absolutely piddle down today.
Every time I speak to somebody about the English weather, they say it's been raining. It's nearly as bad as us.
Yeah, it's really bad this year. And set for a good few weeks, yeah, I think.
And particularly warm either, is it?
Well, if you have live time and live weather turned on today, it's crystal clear blue sky.
It's beautiful, isn't
It's
it?
lovely.
Nice and calm, not getting blowing all over the sky. Must produce one hell of a lot of Pinot over here.
I'm
My G-
streaming my G1000 screen. Look at all the planes on there.
Jonathan, do you know if they ever solved the problem with the, is it the LP Logistics 152?
I don't know. I haven't looked up myself, but various people have told me that it's no longer available. So,
Well, it is available, but you have to go to GitHub,
right.
and it's also updated pretty recently, I believe.
I can't get the flaps up on mine. Want to work?
I know when it first came out, it used to cause problems with the sound with other aircraft.
Yes, I was very tempted to fly it today, but I didn't do it because I wasn't sure if the problems had been solved.
Well, I'm flying it. I haven't updated anything. It seems okay so far.
Oh, okay. I thought the instructions were we had to use a stock model, wouldn't they? Otherwise, I would have blown it. I looked at it.
It's got an autopilot, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
I was thinking about it.
That's why I got it.
That's why I snagged it. Nobody told me different.
Did you all realise that you can modify the config file of aeroplanes to give them an autopilot?
Well, that's
Thinking
getting
the
technical,
Antonov
Jonathan.
AM2 is going to need that.
And an auto throttle.
I know you do that. So just for full disclosure, Mr. Beckett Sr. uses his 737 controls on every single aeroplane in the sim. The full flight deck controls.
It works.
Whatever makes you happy, Dave.
The
So
Captain
even
Sim
in
approach.
Yeah, so in a Tiger Moth, he's got auto throttle, GPS, the whole bit.
And in the helicopters.
Yeah. All he does is he pastes the chunk of text into the config file that it needs to do it.
I'm just waiting on the rumored Skylake and Collective that might be coming that are somewhat affordable.
Whirlpool got some.
I'm going to circle round, wait for you guys all
That's what I'm doing.
catch up.
Yeah, I'm going to come in runway 26.
I'm doing that, Alice.
What's target altitude?
Whatever
Any-
you like.
Yeah, you're welcome to fly at whatever height you want.
Low and slow.
Well, slow's a given, right?
We come for the scenery, gentlemen.
Exactly.
It is beautiful, this part of the world, though, isn't it?
Just, you know,
There's a bit of a crosswind.
got up at LittleNavMap says it's up 7 knots now.
I have a horrible feeling I'm going to be going head-to-head with a lot of people. I'll have to do a Harrison Ford and land on the taxiway to avoid them, I think.
That's okay. A bunch of us are with you.
I was talking to somebody the other day here on the channel that's actually done flights he's done a series of flights and they're all based on the Harrison Ford movies.
Oh, that was me.
Was that you, Joe?
Yeah, Daniel. Yeah.
Was that in a Beaver?
Well, no, they're all based on different planes. So, like initially, beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark, he flies in a Clipper on the Pan Am, one of their first transoceanic routes across the Pacific.
Just a warning, as you're coming in, don't get too close to the ground before the runway because there's something there that clocks you on.
It's called a bloody tree, Peter, sorry.
I don't know, I was coming down nice and gently towards the runway and then all of a sudden I was upside down.
I just got pushed
photogrammetry
sideways.
here, and you know those trees that are photogrammetry are kind of hard. Found that out the hard way.
Photogrammetry at that next airport is poor as well.
Melted chocolate, one of our friends says.
Maybe we can
Pretty-
start giving out Paul Bunyan awards.
Right. Next
5-8
leg.
degrees.
Oh, we've got a bit of a trip this time. 23 miles across the hills over to Nuttree. Brilliant. That's Vacaville, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe you're right, Jonathan.
I got a friend that lives out that way. Their son is a up-and-coming athlete. We might be hearing their name in years to come. I think they have a very good running club out there.
Ooh, these hills are funny formation. Well, the hills where I am.
You ought to see the trees near that sky park we've just been at. There's solid rock underneath the tops of them.
Yeah, that's like they are at Nut Tree. There's a few buildings that are not buildings.
Oh, they've been out in the sun too long and they've melted.
No, they're fossilized.
Yeah, I noticed there was a very strange building at, was it at Queensland in New Zealand?
Queenstown.
Building, it look, yeah, Queenstown. Yeah, it looks like rock on the front of it, and then it has the word Toyota.
So what city is this in front of us?
The one we're heading towards.
Vacaville?
Vacaville, yeah, Vacaville.
Napa.
It's Napa first, yeah.
Oh, sorry, yes, in the flat here, yeah.
Winery, that's right.
It is the Napa Valley.
So there's an interesting story about one of the wineries called Jacuzzi in the area. You've all heard of the jacuzzi?
Yep.
That's just to get you to buy more wine.
Actually, we weren't at the Jacuzzi winery. Another winery told us the story when we visited. Owned by an Italian family, and the dad was someone who had some arthritis, and they took him down to San Francisco to go to the mineral waters to help his pain. So one of the daughters, whose brothers were engineers, said, well, they were using water irrigation to water their ponds on their winery, and they said, why don't you invent something for your father so he won't have to drive to San Francisco and back every day. So they came up and took their aerator, turned it upside down, and put it in a tub, invented the jacuzzi. True story.
Very cool.
Wow.
If he lived in this area, he could have controlled his pain quite easily with a bit of local anesthetic.
He was probably immune at that time.
Strictly for medicinal purposes, of course.
Oh, of course.
That's what my grandmother used to say when she used to have a pint of Guinness every night.
I wonder if you can get it on prescription.
That entitles you to half price there.
So there's a guy on the live stream asking, he's from Greece obviously, so he's asking, can we do a live stream in the Greek islands at some point? I'm sure we can.
That would be fun.
Uzo tour.
Be about 2 months flying around all that lot.
It would.
We need to use an aircraft that is going to do us about 140 knots.
Yeah.
182 would be nice for that. It ticks along nicely at 140.
I think we've actually visited some of them in the past, because I remember flying over Pythagoras' cave and places like that, where his school was.
He was a bit of a square though, wasn't he?
No, that was Euclid.
I don't know, it's all Greek to me.
Hey Peter, they call them woke these days. That's a new term for being square, isn't it?
No, that's the other way around, isn't it? If you're woke, you're liberal, I think.
I can't get my head around that stuff.
He invented yogurt.
Who did?
Greek.
Oh, yeah, of course it is.
Looks like we might have to go around and do runway 20 here, eh?
Yep.
Left hand downwind, gentlemen. Let's be orderly.
I got crosswind.
It's like cat wrangling. What are you talking about?
If you're not sharing the runway on approach, you're not trying hard enough, you know?
A taxiway is just a narrow runway.
Now you're starting to sound like Oshkosh.
That must be a real experience to go there, eh? Aviation 101. Aviation 101's got a couple of videos out on his visit there.
I wonder if anybody makes custom scenery that's got all the coloured circles down the runway.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, if you went to the community site, the last flight they had was to Oshkosh, and he had a couple shortcuts to the TO site where there is Oshkosh, or you could just pull a search up. It's got the circles, and then there's Oshkosh itself, and then there's one that's got the actual flying stuff going on, which is a little bit, it messes with my frame rate because I've got a 1080 Ti, but you guys with the 20s and the 30s and the 40s probably wouldn't have a problem. All kinds of aircraft.
Speaking of which, I'm looking at upgrading. I've got a 2070 Super, but my CPU's an i7 8-core running at about 3.6 gigahertz. So my CPU's plenty powerful enough, but I'm just wondering, I get a bit of stuttering in, you know, the high demand areas, and just wondering, you run a 3080, don't you, Jonathan?
Yeah. It struggles with some of the airports. It's counterintuitive, isn't it? Because the place you want it to be the smoothest is at an airport. You go and get a third-party airport, and it brings the sim to its knees.
See, I'd love a 4090. I just can't afford a separate breaker box to run it.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. If you're going to go to a 4090, you've got to upgrade your power supply as well, plus your cooling systems.
Going to involve a call to the power company.
Set it outside the window so it doesn't infect the sound, right?
Well, no, you've got to go to your bank manager first to see if he'll give you a loan for the electricity money.
The only thing I've got against the 4090 is that it's very noisy because it's got these 3 enormous fans, which are far louder than my previous 3070.
I think unless you're using VR, do you really need to go to a 4000 series?
No,
I just know.
Not when they just started specking out the 5000s.
It helps in VR. Isn't it worth it for the DLS?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, to make it easier to record videos, I never push this 3080 very hard. I've got a 1080 screen on purpose instead of 4K. So if I'm running OBS, I'm not having to downrate it for YouTube, because I can't see the point in giving 4K videos to YouTube. And on top of that, I frame limit it to 30 frames a second anyway.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it?
Wouldn't there be an advantage to running a separate computer and just running a line into it, recording that?
Yeah, but I haven't got a second computer.
Be cheaper than trying to buy a new graphics card.
It would. It's interesting, isn't it? Because, sorry, X-Plane got this right years ago. With X-Plane, you can split the simulator into different jobs. So you can have a whole farm of computers running the simulator.
Well, I had to buy a new computer when I got the sim, and so I've still got my old one, which I do everything else on, and I just have this one dedicated to the sim, so still get a bit of stuttering.
All this talk of 4090s, I'm on a 2080 Ti, and I have no problems whatsoever.
Well, that will be fine for a flat screen.
And don't touch anything.
Yeah, but I got, 6 screens, and I've got VR as well. But I've got to admit, when I'm flying online, I don't fly VR.
Well, I doubt very much that would run VR at all well.
It does.
He doesn't have the settings turned up very high.
There's no need to have them up too high, is there? There's hardly any difference.
Well, since I had the 4090, I've got everything on Ultra, and it's as smooth as a baby's bottom. It really is.
All mine are on Ultra, except trees. I only run that at medium, because it puts too many trees in.
But is that in VR?
Yeah, it's fine.
Crikey, that's amazing.
Are we landing here?
Touch and go.
Left hand downwind for runway 20.
That's what I'm doing.
Sounds good.
Did you say 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this twisty road with the trees and the buildings next to the main road, in between the main road and the airport, is where the nut tree rest stop was. It was an orchard.
Looks like there's a big rest stop down there on the freeway.
Yeah,
anyway,
it only went broke in the mid-90s. The thing that really killed it, it was so successful, it brought so many people to the area, they built a retail park across the road from it. Of course, everybody then went to the retail park, which had loads of eateries and stuff in it. And killed the reason the retail park was there in the first place.
That big white building to the left of the runway is the one that...
Yeah, it's broken, isn't it?
Yeah, terrible. I landed on O2. Dyslexic.
Is everybody doing a left circuit?
I think so.
Yes. Yep.
Yep, I did. Yep.
I'm coming in from the right.
That looks so typically American down there, enormous freeways and great big buildings around them.
Is the coffee stop, guys? I can't remember.
No, we've not just got going for the moment.
Yeah, where is the coffee stop this week? Should I go and have a look in the notes?
It was at Pope Valley, but I don't know if it's changed because the flight plan seems to be different to the one that I've got.
Pope Valley, yes.
Okie doke.
Oh, so next stop's coffee, is it? Oh, good.
Yep.
I better get there first then.
I was just thinking the same, Alex.
I'm on my way. What is it? 292.
Get them to put a new pot on so it's nice and fresh for the rest of us.
Yeah, not that burned bottom pot that's been sitting there since 6 a.m.
No, I'll have an espresso, please.
See, that's where you're wrong. You should have a nice cup of tea.
Well,
I must have
your conversation. I'm going to have a whiskey.
Or to Earl Grey, Twinings Earl Grey. I drink that a lot.
No, I don't like that.
Oh, that's my favorite, Ellis. I love it.
I have it for lunch.
It's
I love it for lunch.
Embalming fluid.
I think only non-English people drink Earl Grey.
Not true. I love it.
Yeah, we drink it when we run out of milk.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly, Jonathan. You don't pollute it with milk.
You know, just put lemon in it, if anything.
Yeah, lemon and sugar.
Isn't it Captain Picard used to drink it, didn't he?
Earl Grey, yeah.
The Earl Grey hot.
So, interesting story. My hometown in North Carolina, there was a Twinings company operation in Greensboro. Probably a distribution center, if I had to guess. So we drank all sorts of tea.
I did a project at work with Twinings years ago. You know, the tea people?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. They were interesting. There was a huge discussion one day about how to make a good cup of tea.
Got to brew for 5 minutes.
You open the yellow box and you pull a little bag out, Jonathan. You chuck it in your cup and pour some hot water on it.
Someone said to the expert at Twinings, I seem to remember the conversation, they said, what if you've got a bigger mug? And he said, well, you let it brew for longer.
Let it turn the color you like and have at it, right?
Yep.
Why does coffee smell nicer than it tastes?
I don't know, it tastes pretty good.
Yeah, it tastes pretty good.
Yeah, but when you smell roasting coffee, it's, well, can't explain it.
I had a real estate agent once tell me when you're selling your house, before you have your open home, the first thing you do is put the coffee pot on.
Yeah.
So when people come into the home to have a look at it, you have that lovely aroma of brewing coffee.
Yeah, it helps if you put the wet dog outside as well.
Apparently it works.
It's the same as putting fresh bread out as well, isn't it?
Yep, that's another one.
Turn the heating up. Turn all the lights on, lamps as well.
When you go to a supermarket, you get that lovely smell of the bakery, if they have an in-store bakery. For years, they just pumped out a chemical called mannitol into the air, which just smells like baking bread. So,
well, somebody actually makes a incense that smells like cinnamon rolls.
Nice.
One of my favorites, Joe. I love cinnamon brioche. Beautiful. Especially if they chuck a couple of sultanas in amongst it too.
So there is a very large coffee roaster less than a mile from my house, and it smells wonderful when they're doing roasting. They actually do coffee for a variety of companies, but Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's are two. And they have their own private label stuff, and they also do industrial kind of, I'll call it industrial coffee, right? It's suppliers to businesses for, corporate consumption.
Oh, what a beautiful view coming over this hill.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm bouncing around quite a lot over this hill, actually.
Yep.
Lake Berryessa.
We don't smell coffee where I live, but we do smell Weetabix because it's made down the road.
We have a company in New Zealand called Sanitarium that makes all our Weetabix. Excuse me.
Is it
I don't like that smell.
Aylesbury that got the Marmite factory?
Is it where?
Aylesbury, I believe the Marmite factory's there. Or somewhere in that area.
Yeah, the guys in the US will never have heard of Marmite, probably.
No, we've heard of it. We just opted against it.
It's this legendary evil stuff.
I don't know what I'm missing. Marmite or Vegemite on toast. Down here we have both, and you get huge debates over which one's better than the other. I actually like Marmite, but I get outnumbered by the Vegemite people.
All right, Marmite and Vegemite sound too much like thermite.
So I'm sorry, we're not allowed to have religious discussions on the channel.
More like cult, isn't it?
It is an acquired taste, but you know, Marmite on a bit of toast is, you know, there's nothing like it.
I think a lot of people make the mistake of slathering it on like jam when they've never had it before.
Yeah, that'll turn you inside out.
That's a mistake.
I'll tell you, one of my favourites, guys, is just a light smear of Marmite, but then you slice a nice ripe avocado up on it, and it is just delicious. Must be the saltiness of the Marmite, I suppose.
Best thing ever that drives my other half around the twist is putting Marmite on crumpets, so it melts into them.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
Y'all don't stop. I'm going to start talking about Americans putting ranch dressing on everything.
Both of which sound totally disgusting.
Nuh-uh.
Don't we have a pizza commercial right now where they dip pizza in ranch?
Yeah, we do that over here.
That Marmite on toast is best. Little is best with cheese melted.
Yes.
Everyone's going to get hungry.
Cheddar cheese.
Yes.
I feel compelled to start talking about deep frying everything now.
No, that's Scotland.
Any Scottish here yet?
If we're not careful, we'll have the nutritionist.
Battered fried Mars bars.
Yeah, that was a thing in Scotland in the 1980s. There was this craze for getting chocolate bars and putting them in the deep fat fryers in chip shops.
Yeah. That overtook the mushy peas, I suppose.
Okay, I'm from the American South. We invented putting everything and deep frying it.
That's because most of us are from Scottish descent, right?
Okay. When you've had a deep fried Twinkie, deep fried Oreos, and deep fried ice cream, come talk to me.
I can vouch for the Oreos. That works.
Fried green tomatoes.
If it can be battered and dipped in oil, we have done it.
Isn't deep
Except Marmite, again.
Preferably funnel cake batter.
Ooh, now you're talking, Mitch.
The best one I ever saw was when I was up in Thailand and we were working with our good friends, the Americans, and the guy sat down to me for breakfast next to me, and he had eggs easy over with nice crispy bacon, and on the side of the plate he had a big roll of chocolate mint ice cream.
That's called grab it
favorite.
while it's there, because you may not find it again.
Is that right? Is that why? But it was obviously quite popular because most of the guys used to do it, you know. They'd have that, and they'd have their hot cakes on the side with their big chocolate mint ice cream, yeah.
You do all realise Jonathan's now going to be sent 15 crates of Marmite for the free advertising.
This is a distinct possibility.
Don't look at Gift Horse in them now, Jonathan.
Okay, I quit. Autopilot's trying to kill me.
You got an autopilot?
Yeah, man.
That's cheating, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's
That's
cheating,
not
man.
cheating. Fair fights are dumb.
I would have come along on my DRG if I'd known I was allowed to cheat.
Well, I grabbed the JPL. Nobody said I couldn't.
So did.
That's what
If in doubt, read the instructions. You weren't even allowed to have an add-on model of a 152.
You do realise you could use the AI pilot to fly the plane for you.
Yeah, he kills you much more efficiently. It's just quicker. Yeah, I know Otto. Okay, he's the blow-up doll. All right.
Actually, I'm finding it actually very pleasant that we're actually hand flying all the way. It's different for a change.
It is.
Well, you know, that's what I'm doing with the UK tour, folks. I'm flying the tri-motor.
You're still doing that? Well, I can understand if you're flying the tri-motor.
Yeah,
5.2 feels like it's got an
Ireland now, so I'm on that part of the leg.
What are you cruising speed in the tri-motor at?
It's about 90, isn't it?
Not very fast, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's rather slow.
I had a go in it earlier. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, and it's kind of one of those things, once you notice it, it ruins the plane for you. There's a gap on the left front window, in the edge of the window.
But why would you tell us that? Now you've ruined it.
And once you notice it, you start leaning towards it, and you can see the scenery through the gap.
I didn't notice that yet. I'll have to
That's
look.
not a bug. That's a feature.
Yeah, I did wonder if it's just a bit breezy in the cockpit in the real one.
Must be a vent, huh?
Yes, I just so you can have some fresh air.
Special design.
I think I rented a plane like that once in real life.
That's like jeans with ripped knees. That's just air conditioning.
That plane is still a lot of fun.
It is.
They can still do that with his Tobii Eye in any plane, so it really doesn't matter.
They look like a greenhouse.
Well, one of the quirks about my G2 is it decides to dance all over the place. I've had some pretty good views of the bottom of the landing gear and everything else. That's the hotkey, button or whatever on my joystick to keep me self-centered.
So this is Pope Valley we're just approaching, which is the stop-off point to have a break.
Good, because I'm hungry.
We're all going to go and raid the cupboard for Marmite and stuff now, aren't we?
Get your Marmite and Slim Jims while you're here.
Now, if it's a good coffee shop, it'll have a cinnamon brioche there waiting for me.
I think there's a couple of crumpets in the cupboard. So.
Everyone's got the munchies.
I'm going to have to get the digital caulking and go work on my tri-motor now.
I think I saw a mod for that on Flight.to.
Yeah, I think it's just like one of the surfaces in the 3D has got the wrong setting on it somehow.
I've had great fun setting up some custom cameras for that too, right? So I have one that's just to the inside between the motor and the wheel well. Yep. And then I have another one in the cabin that I can see out the window. So I've been known to just fly the plane from back there. And by the way, if you're curious, there is no toilet in the restroom.
You wouldn't be allowed to have a restaurant if you didn't have a restroom in our country. Compulsory.
Yeah, that's true here too, Ellen.
Still, they're going to give you the key, and it's going to be hooked up to a spare tire. So you, when you ask for it, everyone knows where you're going.
Yeah, that's right. Tends to happen mostly at service stations in our country. That's what they do, because they're normally accessed from outside the building.
This airport's they've got one of those pushback trolleys. They're no aircraft, but they've got a pushback trolley.
Oh yeah, all of the most remote airfields are always fully staffed. Been waiting for an airplane to land there for 3 weeks.
Bob's Airport, Hair Care and Tire Center.
A bloke waving at me with 2 sticks. I don't know what that's about.
He's threatening you. He's going to ask if you've got any Marmite in a moment.
And if you do, they're going to send you out of the country. Forgot to declare it.
He's making an X like the devil would.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I just send you guys some peanut butter. Y'all can recover from that Vegemite stuff.
No, the two go really well together. Peanut butter and Marmite. It's a great combination. Oh.
It puts a real edge on peanut butter.
That's what jam is for, right?
Oh no, just that's wrong.
Oh, peanut butter and strawberry preserves are to die for.
Evening, chaps.
Evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Food Network.
Thank you.
Everybody wishing they'd taken the JPL, don't. It is actively trying to kill me right now.
All these people on the stream will be wondering what on earth they're listening to.
No, they're all hungry. They're looking in the kitchen.
They've all come up to a McDonald's.
No, they stopped watching some time ago. They're sat in the kitchen with the toast.
I'm good. I had a 4 cheese and ham sandwich for lunch already.
You just couldn't decide on a cheese, or is that just the standard?
I'm a cheeseaholic. I have every one.
It's gotten quite windy.
What about cheese?
What airport are we? Am I looking at on the stream here, gentlemen?
The airport we've just arrived at is
Pope
Valley, 05 Charlie Lima.
Where the coffee shop is.
I was the one who set up the Newfoundland flight today, and I had some issues with my computer and couldn't kick it off. I apologize for anyone.
No, that's right. You'll be surprised that about 50% of all the people in the airline have had that lesson at some point.
It's called spinning the wheel of Flight Simulator.
Yeah. Well, I'm loading up my sim. I'll be right with you guys.
You crashed, Peter. You just disappeared.
No, I didn't do it. I was doing 120 knots down the runway near the end. I thought I'd better go around. Even with it being quite a long runway.
Okay, who's munching?
All right, it's munching.
That's industrial espionage.
That's toast.
The sound of dying Vegemite.
Such a nice collection of Cessnas, gentlemen.
It is. It's quite odd, isn't it?
Time for some coffee.
Yep, I'm going to go and grab a drink as well. Back in a moment.
All these planes down here in 152s looks like Oshkosh on a budget.
Hey, I'll have you know I had a coupon.
Okay, what was that identifier again?
Zero fives CL.
And what server are you guys on?
Southeast Asia.
Oh dear Jesus. to 21,474,000 something millisecond ping.
I just can't get enough of this Komatsu right now.
That's a very strange 152.
I'm just sitting in today. I haven't had time to join an actual flight today. Sorry.
Well, that's all right. No worries. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, I've just downloaded the update to the Comanche. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know what they've changed.
I guess I'll play fair and switch to the 172. 152. I've been flying the 172. I misread the directions.
When you go grab that coffee, make sure you take note of your tail number. You might get in somebody else's plane.
I think there was an incident of that happened years ago. The pilots of, I think it was a Delta Airlines flight, went down the wrong concourse and taxied out and took off with the wrong plane and the wrong passengers.
Oh, the field next to us is a Boeing, yeah, on the next field. Like all the fields around the airport, they're all Boeings.
Well, they didn't have a cinnamon bun, guys. So when the flight's over today, I'll have to go down to the cafe at the local Aero Club. They have lovely brioche cinnamon bun.
What's that? The $500 cinnamon bun?
Oh no, they're about. I think they bang us about $4.50 or something.
I'm talking about the gas to get you there.
Oh, it's not that far away. I live in a very small town.
How small is it?
About
So you have
a
to step outside to change your mind.
very, very pretty little place. November Zulu Whiskey Tango is the ICO code. We've only got a little grass strip, but yeah, no, it's a cool place to live.
Yeah,
Especially,
it's got a good coffee shop, I hear.
We got lots of good coffee shops for a small town of about, what, population 6,000 or 7,000, and we'd have, I don't know, there must be 20 bloody coffee shops around town. They're everywhere. It's a holiday town. Population goes from 6,000 to about 26,000 at Christmas time.
Sounds like Arizona in the winter.
In the village I live next to, it's got more pubs than that.
We've got a few of those too, Dave. We've got one here that's very popular. The Irishmen would love it. It's called Grace O'Malley's. On the waterfront, and it serves Guinness.
That's my favourite beer.
Gee, there's a few of us here today, isn't there?
There is.
There's actually more on the sim than there is on LittleNavMap.
I'm not even running transmitter, I just realised.
Yeah, I gotta figure out. LittleNavMap keeps doing a thing where it hangs up like every 10 to 20 seconds and freezes everything.
You mean... So do you mean the red aeroplanes?
Yeah, like everything just stops in it for like a second and then picks up as if
Yeah, I
nothing
think there's
happened.
a few bugs in it at the moment. There's a tick box in LittleNavMap that might help you. In the tools menu, if you go to options and then online flying, there's a tick box that says remove duplicate aircraft from the online service. Untick it.
I forget how to bring up slew. What
Why?
is slew?
Y key.
It toggles slew on and off. Once you've enabled slew, F1 and F4 change your altitude, and the numeric keypad keys 8, 6, 4 and 2 will move you around at speed, I think. Or they rotate, sorry.
No, that's right, Jonathan. 8 takes you roaring forward.
Yeah, 1 and 3 rotate you, that's it. Be careful, because 7 and 9 make you roll on the axis of the aircraft at extreme speed.
I just needed to get away from the building because there was no pushback. And it was crashing me.
Stop, it's very handy and means you don't have to bail out and restart the sim. You can get back up in the air and keep going. A-Cars doesn't like it though.
No, you get a massive penalty if you touch slew.
What the hell is what my... I'm actually doing all my legs and my flight home on A-Cars, Jonathan, or most of them anyway.
Very
so
cool.
The hours accrue in the virtual airline then, don't they?
Yep, they do.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing it for. Because I'm rapidly approaching 1,000 hours in the sim, so
Oh my word.
that's gonna be a milestone for me. I think I'm about 962 at the moment.
Wish I'd joined before I did my 20-hour flight from France to Seattle.
I had over 3,000 hours in FSX.
Where are we going from this airport, or is this the airport?
That's a really good question. I'm just going to go and have a look.
We are going to Mysterious Valley Ranch.
20 Charlie Lima.
Yeah, about 9 miles north of us.
So how many touch and goes do I have to do in VATSIM before I can... No, not VATSIM, the virtual flight before I can go on other missions?
It's not that strict. It's all based on the amount of hours you've filed. So you can just open A-Cars and fly anywhere you like on a free flight, and it will still accrue those hours.
Okay, thank you.
Since you did that, Jonathan, it's been good because you just got to remember to fill the form in, that's all.
Yeah. Even if you don't remember to do A-Cars, once you've landed, you can do a manual PIREP where you just fill in the details of your flight by hand. The one thing that lots of people trip over is, say you're doing a tour where you're ticking off the legs as you complete the tour. You have to dispatch a tour leg before you do the flight. So then when you load A-Cars, it will be pre-filled in, or if you do a manual PIREP, it will be pre-filled in. If you don't do that, the tour leg will not get ticked off.
That's right, and you end up having to go back and do it again.
Yeah, and we've all done it.
Of course we have done. You learn the lesson very quick.
All right, I'm gonna have to hop out and come back in. This APL is just not happening right now.
Okay, I'm ready. Is the runway clear?
I can't see anybody on it at the moment. There's a guy lined up, a couple of aircraft lined up about to take off, I think.
That one of them is I am. It's me.
You're not in. Are you not in the 152?
Yeah, I'm in the one.
Well, you're not showing in the sim as that.
Could be a livery.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's the stock 152 red and white livery.
Airfire Vids, is that your tag?
Yeah, that's one.
No, you didn't show as a 152.
I got him as a 152.
Sometimes it just doesn't, for some reason, even when you've got stock livery.
No, it's odd, isn't it?
Odd.
Weird how it does that.
Oh, there's one that's in purple. I haven't seen a purple 152 before.
Yeah, I'm one of the ones in purple. I'd not noticed it before. Thought it'd be different. Pretty hideous, to be honest, but...
Well, while you're on the inside, you can't see it.
No, exactly.
I've lost my engines.
It's on the front of the airplane.
Big spinny thing attached.
Yeah.
Walk right into that one.
You mean you want some fuel?
By the way, if the spinny thing has fallen off, you're a glider now.
There's a YouTube video of that happening to somebody. You know, real video.
No, I know
lost
what
the propeller.
happened. I've got my propeller and my fuel.
Oh, you cut the mixture.
The mixtures are on rotating knobs on my X52 on the throttle stack.
Yeah.
So when I must have touched it and it was rolled all the way out.
Yeah, I've been there.
Actually, that's an interesting point. Is anybody flying with the Bravo throttles? When you press the flaps down, in the 152, does it go straight down to full flap? And then you
No.
No, mine doesn't, Peter.
Mine does it.
Oh, mine
Stage
does.
is fine.
I see. It's me tonight, is it?
Yep. You've got special talents.
It has been called that sometimes, but it's other things.
So speaking of special, I think that Mysterious Valley Ranch you will find to be that way. This is probably one of the most bizarre landing strips I've ever encountered. There are actually 3 places to land. There is I'll call it a normal looking runway. There's also a grass strip to its right. And then there is a patch of woods that is also the 3rd strip. So if you're brave, then try that one.
Joe,
it's a
stop
challenge.
giving the secret away.
That's just like a red rag to a bull to everybody, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, right? That's why I was doing it.
Right. Right, I'm setting off towards this next airfield then.
Well, I might have to bail out and start again because my battery's gone flat. Can I plug in external power in this thing?
Can just Control E not fix it?
Jonathan, I'll try that.
They're going to run one of those cell phone chargers out to you.
There's a tree halfway down the runway.
It takes 8 hours to charge.
Second.
That didn't fix it, Jonathan, I'm sorry.
I wonder why your prop wasn't spinning.
Wonder if you can do an air start.
Oh, that flap thing in a Bravo, what you basically have to do is take the flaps out and then put it back in again. That should work.
Yeah, I know. You can quickly flip up again to get the flap that you want. It's just that as soon as you press the flap, it just goes straight down to full flap.
Oh, you have to unensign it and put it in again.
It's worth a try.
I'm sure awesome watching you guys take off, line up and take off down there.
Has anybody got the ADF frequency for the next stop or next touch and go?
I've just been following the pack.
Yeah, it's just a course of 355 degrees-ish. It's only 10 miles away. Or 9 miles away. It's just over the hill.
I'm glad it's choice there.
Is that what you call it?
I'm going to come in at 140.
In a 152?
I'm in a 172 and cheated.
Oh.
I couldn't get my 152 to start.
I want to check how much fuel I've got left.
Yeah.
Let's see, oil.
Pretty fun with Emmanuel's livery. I'm going in for my third landing.
Oh, so I just follow your label then to see where the airfield is.
Some nice fishing lakes around this area. Don't know how big the fish are. Oh, I suppose it might be crocodiles.
There'll be alligators in America.
What, they ate the crocodiles?
No.
They do crocodile steaks, don't they? Or is it alligator steaks?
Tastes like chicken.
This will be fourth landing.
So, where's this field?
Just look for the grass that's shorter than the grass around it.
I might have to circle it first to have a look. I think I can see it.
It's pretty clear. There's another runway though, short of the first one.
Oh, is it the one in the trees? Is that the one you're on about?
Yeah, that's not the one, but there's another one a bit further on. Look.
What heading from the airport we just took off from is this?
It's north, so it's about 355 degrees, I think.
Anybody know how I get ATC to stop requesting flight following?
Yeah, turn the volume on your radio or down or turn them
Turn it off.
Change frequency. Yeah.
Going in for my sixth landing.
So I'm just side slipping in to go and do this short strip. I think it's the grass on the left, isn't it, you're talking about?
Yeah, there's another strip there. I did both.
I'm just coming in, side slipping to get the speed down.
I didn't bother touching the throttle. I just kept it wide open.
Well, I'm back and got it up and running, so I might have to do a fast catch-up.
Yeah, I started at the beginning, so I'm making a beeline for you. I'm back in the regular 152, so now if I kill myself, it's because of myself.
Oh, there's old Peter. He's not too far in front of me, so just follow him. He knows where he's going.
This boy's a fool.
7 landings.
The only problem is the water hazard if you go for a touch and go on the short strip of grass.
That turned into a par 5.
Funny, my compass was in the wrong direction. There we go, I hit the D button and it corrected itself.
Yeah, if you do steep turns in anything like an accurate aeroplane, the gyro compass will drift a lot.
It's number 8.
There's that many labels now, that many of us in the air, that it's not hard to miss the group, is it?
I got labels turned off. I'm just looking for lights.
That's a good point, actually. We could go for sunset, couldn't we, and see all the lights twinkling.
As long as the runway's lit, Jonathan, that's all right. I'll go with that. Did you have a second copy, Peter? Because you're dragging the chain like me.
Oh, I thought I'd wait for you, and I've discovered that if you go to the outside view, you can use your heading bug in the thing at the top.
Well, you got the heads-up display on, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on too. Yeah, it's good.
Well, I really missed the heading bug in the cockpit, and I was just in the outside view circling, just watching your aircraft take off, and I realised I got a heading bug up the top, and of course it works, which is very nice. Mind you, you can follow all of those name tags that are in the way that means you can't actually see where you're supposed to be landing.
Well, I haven't got an autopilot today anyway, so follow the pack.
I'm just using the compass in the middle of the windshield.
So after that Mysterious Valley airfield, it's 283 degrees to Paul. What's the name of it again?
Paul Hobberg.
Hobberg, that's the one.
Quebec 79.
Check, please.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I went away, so I had to restart Discord. So I gave y'all all sorts of commentary about Mysterious Valley that you couldn't hear.
It was all very mysterious.
Mysterious.
I guess it was, right? What you heard was probably better than what I said.
Yeah, I get you. The things I say usually tend to keep people the exact opposite of on the edge of their seats.
Isn't this place just absolutely Bizarro World?
It is.
And what's with the tree in the middle of the runway? Yeah.
Gardener's on strike.
So we have put that there.
That's a Microsoft special.
That's the wrong runway.
So we have put the tree there.
It's something to aim at, right? It's like a cone.
I came in a little high and a little fast. I'm going to side slip it down to keep my speed down.
That came in a little bit fast. That's the second time I've been upside down today.
So somebody in the live stream chat is asking, how does the TCA Captain work with the PMDG 737s? So TCA Captain, is that the Airbus kit?
I think that's the new Boeing one from...
oh, in that case it would work perfectly.
A lot of lovely little man-made ponds here, isn't there?
If you don't want to land at Lampson Fields, try Ferndale Resort. A little bit to the east.
John, I think the TCA kit is what you have, isn't it? It's the Airbus. I don't think it's the
That's what I wondered. It's... Yeah. I've got, so if it is that the guy's on about, and if he's still listening, I've got a video on it about how to get it to work with the thrust reversers in the 737s. It's a bit fiddly. You have to go and map a button to press to get it to go into reverse.
I got the 739 I bought recently.
It's good fun, isn't it?
Yeah, as long as you don't rotate too steeply.
Yeah. And on approach, if you're still heavy on landing, it's quite narrow margins, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I love flying it though. It's a great game.
It concentrates the mind wonderfully on approach.
Has anybody tried that Your Controls program?
Yes. Muggs, who is sometimes on here, has tried it, and so has Ryan. They did across the pond with it, I think.
I'd really like to try that with somebody, and it can be a stock aircraft. I don't care, just for the experiment. Just want to see how well it works.
I think it does work, but it's quite fragile.
Yeah, I've tried it a couple times early on.
Pilot settings have to be identical.
Yeah.
Right. The aircraft you're flying, even the livery, everything has to be identical. So there is a guideline that you can look at on the net, and it tells you, like, turn off this, turn off that, so that it makes it a little easier to keep up.
Have they mentioned if multi-crewing is going to be a focus of 2024? I mean, I know you can do it in DCS with certain aircraft.
I don't know.
Are we headed for Q79?
Yes.
Copy.
Oh, that Comanche is like flying a wheel plane.
Yep.
The A2A, yeah. I've got someone here in the red, black, and white livery. I'm just coming up on your 6. I'm in formation with someone now.
Yeah, I think it's me.
You in a white with the red and gray?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
that's
coming
me.
on your left wing?
Yeah, I know I'm on your left wing.
Oh, okay, so that's not me then.
Oh, that's me.
Word of warning, this Paul Hobberg Airport's 300 feet.
Right.
Do they grow grapes up here?
But we're I'm pretty tight on it, 6 o'clock. Well, we're kind of at your 7, really. Whoever it is.
Has he not got a name tag on?
I don't have name tags turned on, no.
But if you turned it on, you might find out who he is.
Yeah, true. I think you can highlight them.
I can see the airfield. There's 8 knots from the left, so I'm going to turn right.
Is it possible to bind a key for nameplates?
Yes, it's in the keyboard config. If you just search for nameplate, you'll see the toggle option.
Thanks.
It's not mapped to anything by default, but yeah, you can set a key to it.
Thank you.
I use F12.
That's screenshots normally.
Within Steam, yeah.
Use Alt F4.
Whatever you like. What works
For
for
the
you?
old Control Alt Delete.
Well, that does toggle nameplates.
I was looking at a video, Jonathan, the other night about how to cure stutter, and there was a guy who was saying if you go into Task Manager and select Microsoft Flight Simulator and set the priority to high.
Yeah, I don't actually get stuttering happen. I just get the whole sim freezes now and again. It hasn't done it tonight. It's very, very odd.
Just cursed us.
That's it. And cue this stuff.
Yeah, me too. It just, like last night I flew for an hour and all of a sudden just stopped. And it's never happened to me before.
Yeah, if you hang on for like 20 seconds, it will unlock itself and carry on.
I had it happen about 2 weeks ago, but it didn't unfreeze. It just stayed frozen.
Yeah, I've been looking at a few YouTube videos on upgrading your PC, and what one guy who was very good said the biggest thing is to identify where your bottleneck is. Is it in your CPU or in your GPU? Because you can spend a lot of money unnecessarily for not much gain if you don't do the right thing.
Oh, some good pylons at the top of this hill. They're all painted pretty colours. Oh, I hit a wire.
I'm going to try and maintain my formation with this guy for the landing. He's flying really well, so easy to follow him.
Then it's not me.
I just jumped out and had a look. It's not me.
I'm just turning in now.
Left circuit, runway 14.
We should really, shouldn't we?
Yep.
Oh, must be a winery near here, because it's full of vines again.
Again, I think the runway is generous.
You're welcome.
This bird doesn't have much grunt, does it?
That's an understatement of the year.
You've got to put it into a very slight climb, and the next minute you're doing 80 knots. Or nose down a little bit and you roar to 120 very quickly. I think I might be able to see the airstrip now.
Yeah, we're starting our descent now, him and I.
I better come over to the starboard to do a left-hand downwind.
Is that you guys in the dust?
You shouldn't be in a 172.
I couldn't get the 152 to start, so I had to switch back.
You had a mechanical.
Considering all the time I'm playing catch-up, I should grab the Monster NX Cup with the NOS.
Yes.
We're very forgiving lot. You can do what you like, and we're not going to give you black marks. Until Jonathan comes up with a system of doing so.
That's the grading we get on acres when we try to land and get a big red dot. Hard landing.
Yeah.
This looks like a very nice flight. Looks like I'll have to do it later.
Yeah, it's good fun.
The only problem with A cars can be very demoralizing at times. You think you've done a real good landing, and then you look at your scorecard and he's pinged you because you oversped on the taxi.
Yeah, it's pretty judgy for something that doesn't actually fly itself.
I'm doing the scenic route.
Okay.
It's rather stunning around here, isn't it?
Off towards Lampson Field then. 290 degrees, 12.5 miles.
And you have a headwind, so you can come straight in.
And we are a party of 2 coming in to land in formation.
Variable 3 knots on the ground at Lampson, so there's no wind down there. It's fine.
I'm over a clear lake. Jesus, I bet the houses along this lake edge are expensive. Every one of them has got a boat dock.
Oh, I didn't notice that there are 2 float plane locations to our right.
Yeah.
That's where I'm flying. I'm going
Yeah, I can
down
see you over there.
I love float planes and seaplanes. The world is your runway.
I put one on the calendar. I think it's in October. It's Seattle area.
That big French flying boat's fantastic, isn't it?
It's a classic cruiser, and it's so much fun. There's so much to figure out in it.
Part of that Newfoundland flight that was trip planning today was the last airport we would have been landing in would have been the Exploits Valley Airport in Botwood, Newfoundland. And that is the location for a numerous amount of transatlantic float plane, like seaplane flights.
Right.
That was a huge seaplane base during the Second World War, a jump-off point for the American Air Forces. And Harbor Grace, which was our second destination, or, well, first airport after leaving St. John's, is a spot where Amelia Earhart did a refuel before heading across the Atlantic.
I'm hoping somebody will do a scenery for the Treasure Island in San Francisco Bay, which was Pan Am's jumping off point for everything in the Pacific. It was pretty classy looking back in the day.
I'm old enough to remember the flipper coming into the Waitemata Harbour in Auckland in New Zealand. They used to go.
Bet that was a sight.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to have seen that.
Me too.
Airplane already at Lampson Field.
Hey Jonathan, did you get to look at that Catalina I mentioned?
Not yet, no. I'll have to write that down.
For a free plane, that's a lot of fun.
I've been to the website, Joe. I'm trying to download it, but it, I don't know. Once again, I'm getting senile and thick. I'll go back and have another go.
It's not super straightforward, but you have to go on the MSFS 2020. There's a link for it, and then you can snag it from there.
Okay, I'll have a look at that.
DBY?
What? That's on their website.
Yeah, it's made by a company or a group called French VFR.
Ooh.
Used to be a good one in P3D.
Yeah, they've updated it. It's not. I mean, it's not going to be a Comanche or anything, but it's got a lot of functionality, and it's actually very nice to fly.
Yeah, I managed to get it downloaded. Haven't gotten it installed yet.
There's a nice fire effect that comes out of the top of the exhaust from the 2 radials on top.
I love my radials.
Will it
Wonderful.
start or won't it? One game.
Just love those old, what were they, 14-cylinder radial Pratt & Whitneys they used in the...
Twin Wasps?
Yeah, the Twin Wasp. Beautiful engines. We had them in the Sunderlands. I actually worked on Sunderlands, believe it or not.
I love it when they're at idle. It sounds like, 24 Harleys sitting at a red light.
Yeah. They just purr though, eh? I've actually flown in the Sunderland on quite a few occasions.
Wow.
Yep. I got into a lot of trouble because I got into the tail gunner's turret, and the pilot was, they were doing a test flight, and they were checking all their trim functionality and what have you, and this little shit was down the back of the aeroplane in the turret, winding it one way and the other, and apparently it upset
knocking them out of
everything.
trim?
Yeah. I got into a bit of trouble over that.
Hopefully they didn't have any belted ammunition back there.
No. Didn't have any. It had the functionality of being able to wind it, but it didn't have any guns mounted or anything. It was a good viewing platform. That's why I went and got in it. I didn't know I wasn't allowed to rotate the thing.
The problem with being a tail gunner is you're always seeing where you've been, never where you're going.
Well, I could tell you some funny stories about bombing practice in of Sunderland. Had two big side doors under the wings that they actually were pulled out of the side of the airplane on big rubber bands, and then they'd crash down the rails and hit some limit switches at the bottom, and when the limit switch is made, the bomb trolleys ran out under the wings on rails.
Yeah. That sounds like a bomb system made by Acme.
Yeah, probably was. But anyway, you go out there and the armourers got lazy. They didn't like having to hang all the bombs on the bomb trolley. So they all used to get in the bomb bay and just sit there, because they used to these little 5-pound practice bombs or whatever they were. And they wait for the doors to crash down, and they just pick the bombs up and toss them out through the hole in the side of the airplane.
I was about to say they use the rubber bands to spring shot them out the side.
Oh, I got a runway in front of me. Look at that. Yeah, a lot of fun. That's back in the old days, fellas.
They've got a Sunderland in the Hendon RAF Museum in London. I climbed through it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
We've got a Sunderland and a Solent at Motat in Auckland. Beautifully preserved. Yeah. Solent was the civil version of the Sunderland.
Yeah.
And what used to be Air New Zealand was called Tasman Empire Airways back in the 50s, and they used to fly them across the Tasman to Aussie. Took all day and cost you a year's wages. They all used to get dressed up and yeah.
If you're spending that much money to go for a flight, yeah, you probably want to look nice.
It's all changed today, hasn't it?
Yeah, everybody's in, pajamas and bunny slippers.
Where I'm flying, there's mountain bike tracks.
It's the right part of the world for it.
What's the runway heading up here?
Whereabouts are you?
I'm right behind everybody. It looks like everybody's coming in and then...
Oh, you're coming into Lampson Field.
Southwest.
The runway's 28.
28.
Copy that.
I'm Cloverdale Mun.
Municipal.
No, Mun. It says Mun. It doesn't say municipal.
Look, they couldn't afford the rest of the letters, okay? They had to get off the trees off the runway.
I was going to say, if that's Cloverdale, don't you have to watch out for monsters there?
Yeah, that's Cloverfield.
Munster. Munsters.
Mum's the word.
No, I wouldn't mind coming to this part of the world and having to drive around. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I've been up here. 'Cause like I said earlier, it's a shame she didn't make it to the flight, but my cousin lives up here.
You can afford to live up here. You're doing all right.
Is that right? Is it?
Well, they used to live a lot
good
closer
lord.
to the city, closer to San Francisco, but over the years they've moved further and further away because, yeah, cost of living.
Because nobody can afford San Francisco.
No, nobody. Not anymore.
You have to be homeless to live in San Francisco.
There was a fascinating article a few years ago I read. I forget which magazine it was in, but there was a black lady lives in New York, and she lives on one of the stoops in the middle of the city, and her family, had lived in this stoop sort of townhouse for, I don't know, 70, 80 years.
Yeah, rent control probably.
And well, no, they bought the house. I think her grandparents had bought the house outright, or the apartment. And yes, because of the cost of real estate in New York, her family now basically has about £1 billion in real estate assets underneath them, or $1 billion then. Sorry.
I'm surprised the city has declared eminent domain on it.
I think that might have been what part of the article was about, that they one of the families that actually owned one of the properties. I remember visiting San Francisco years ago. The arguments were going on, I don't know, 30 years ago about people being forced out of the area.
What's happened in England now, isn't it?
Happens everywhere.
I didn't know that there were 100-year leases until I read about flats in London.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people haven't got their head around the fact that we're only on the planet for a short period of time. And if you so-called own a property, you don't really. You're actually just buying a license to occupy it while you're here.
Yep, spot on.
It's going to be somebody else's one day.
Who owns the airspace above a property?
Depends on the outfit.
You want me to tell you, Jonathan? Come down here. We've got a certain race a race of indigenous people that are claiming everything, mate.
You might own a property, but you don't own the land underneath it.
Oh, they own the water that falls out of the sky, mate. Didn't you know that? They want to charge everybody for having some.
I think in the
United
UK,
States you have mineral rights, so you do on the what's underneath the land as well.
I asked our local water company, do I get a rebate for all the water that pours off my land?
in the
Yeah, I
UK,
know.
I think you own all the way down and all the way up, but you don't own the right to exploit the minerals, etc.
That's what I'm getting at.
That's not the way it is in the United States.
Commercial usage of deliveries is mapping the airspace for dealing with how the drones are going to fly.
Yep.
So if I own the land that's all the way below my house, do I own a plot somewhere on the other side of the earth? Well,
I think you own Ellis's house. Yeah.
I'm going to start a company collecting drones with flat batteries.
Of course, here in the southeastern United States, we just have to worry about them shooting them out of the sky like skeet.
I've got a drone that I use for fishing, like I've got an electric reel on a nice rod, and I use the drone to fly my bait line up to 1 kilometre offshore.
Right,
And
please video that. I want to see that.
Well, I haven't got a camera on the drone, but I found out very quickly that I have to load an app down here. It's called Air Share, and it tells you all the no-fly zones for drones. Because if you're anywhere near an airfield, you're not allowed to fly a drone, you see. Or in some cases you might be able to, but you've actually got to file a flight plan with CAA to do it.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on the drone fishing part. I've never even heard of this. This is amazing.
Okay.
That's for you.
No. Well, I'll tell you what. If you go onto YouTube and Google, now what's the name of my drone?
So how do you use a drone to help with fishing again?
And what does Game and Wildlife think about this?
Basically, I've got $1,000 Akuma electric reel, which is powered by a lithium-ion battery, because I'm too lazy to wind in a kilometre of line, right? You put it on free spool, you put your drone on the ground, and it's got a mechanical clip. Some of them have electrically operated clips, but mine's only a mechanical one. It's a long leader. Anybody done long line fishing where you clip your trace onto a long line? We're ahead of everybody else. But anyway.
No, I have, we have downriggers in some spots.
I'll use a boat.
I know, I have too, but you know, sometimes I like to wander down the beach in the early morning. It's a lot easier to fly the drone out and drop the line a kilometre off the beach and
How
get
do you know where to fish? Do you have like a fish finder mounted on it? Because that would be awesome.
Hey, down here in Kiwi land, just put the line out there and wait. Down at my beach, I go down, I fly it out. It's especially in the spring, coming into summer. And put the line out a kilometre, leave it there for 10 minutes, and pull it in with 4 or 5 fish on there. I take, 6 hooks out, and invariably I'll bring it in with 3 fish on it after 10 minutes.
How much weight can that drone pick up, and how heavy are these fish?
I carry it. We've got special sinkers that are used for surf casting that have got big wire grabs on them, and you flick the wire grabs back. It's hard to explain, and we put rubber bands around them so they don't unfold too easily. And I put 2 of them on, and they're about 4 ounces each, so there's about 8 ounces of lead on. The drone will lift up to 1 kilo, no trouble. So what you do is you lay the leader line out on the beach, flip on your 6 traces, bait them up. The only thing you got to worry about is the seagulls eating the bait as fast as you're putting it on. And then fire the drone up, and it lifts the whole lot up in the air, and you fly it out over the water. And when it's gone, and you can see on the controller for the drone how far you've gone, you just lock the drum on the reel, the line goes tight, and the drone keeps going, and it unclips, and the line drops into the water. Then you push the home button, forget about the drone, because it comes home and lands in front of you automatically.
All right, this is officially the most interesting thing I've heard all week.
See, when you said you were fishing with a drone, I thought you were like dropping dynamite into the lake with the drone or something.
That's what I thought, which was equally going to be awesome.
No, but Ellis isn't going to admit to dropping dynamite down.
Well, these are tough fish, okay?
There's a lot. We use lots of different forms of fishing methods. As Dave said, he goes out in the boat. Well, we do that. But you can go surf casting, you go kite fishing, you go Kontiki fishing, and now we've got drone fishing.
Do you get mackerel in New Zealand?
Yes, we do, Dave, but I'll tell you one thing we don't do with it, like you, we don't eat it.
If you eat
mackerel is at the bottom of the eating chain in New Zealand, I'm sorry.
All you gotta do is fry it, you're fine.
If you eat it fresh, if you've got to eat it the same day as you caught it.
Yes, I know. We've got fish like that. One's called a karwai, or commonly referred to as sea trout. Beautiful fish, but you've got to catch it, bleed it, and eat it on the day.
Yeah.
We do the same with gurnard, what we call gurnard. You guys call it garfish. I don't know why you don't eat it. It's one of the most beautiful eating fishes there is. I'd have it 10 times over a slimy mackerel.
That's like
In the southern states, it's trash fish, it's garfish.
if you see monkfish in a wet fish shop, you wouldn't buy it, but it's beautiful taste.
Yeah, well, that comes down to whose taste you respect.
And how hungry you are.
And how hungry you are. We've got far better eating fish, like heaps of John Dory and bream and kingfish. We've got beautiful harpooker and blue nose and, and there's nothing like a bit of smoked billfish, like swordfish or sailfish. Yeah. I love smoked kingfish. I smoke a lot of fish myself. I don't buy smoked salmon, I buy fresh salmon and then smoke it myself.
Disgusting habit.
How do you get it in
Is
the
it
paper?
Marlboro or?
Pardon?
Is it Marlboro?
How do you get it in the paper?
How do you get the fish to hold the cigarette?
Yeah, how'd you get the light?
You know what I mean. I hot smoke. I got a little portable smoker. My wife loves smoked salmon, so to keep it in control of the budget, I buy the fresh stuff and smoke it myself. I do a better job than they do too. I've been doing it longer than most.
I read an interesting story a few years back. Bill Bryson wrote a book about just life in America. I think it's 1921.
Oh, that's a
the book
great
is called.
book.
And there's a section in there about New York, and they kind of in a bit of exposition in the book, he tells a story that in the turn of the 1800s to the 1900s, that the highest selling fish in New York, this is before oceanography had taught them anything, was this particular type of fish. But what they didn't know at the time was the adult fish they were catching were 70 years old, and they fished it to extinction for that part of the world. Because obviously there was just no knowledge back then about what on earth they were doing. But yeah, so it was it was the highest selling, most profitable fish to catch. Until it wasn't.
Well, we got very strict limit controls now. If I go out to my boat in what we call Cray 1, a fishing zone, we're only allowed to take 6 bream for the whole boat. Or is it 6 per person? Might be 6 per person.
But if anyone wants a good book, that 1921 book by Bill Bryson's fantastic. Is it 21 or 23? I'm just trying to remember. 1920 something.
All his books are very good.
And of course, A Walk in the Woods is hilarious.
Yes, it is.
And Notes on a Small Island as well when it comes to the UK. That's quite funny.
Yeah, his observations about the UK are absolutely spot on.
I hope that salmon is from Canada.
No. All our salmon is Pacific salmon, and we have massive salmon farms down south at the bottom of the South Island. Bluff salmon, Mount Cook salmon, beautiful.
Yeah,
so it's not Norwegian
salmon rarely carry their passport.
I'll tell you how good it is. The Canadians have been coming and taking fingerlings from the New Zealand breeding farms to restock some of the depleted rivers up in Canada.
I did not know that.
Yep, it's fact. It's true.
Here in Norway, we export a lot of salmon down to Asia. We have like 3 planes constantly going over there.
We eat a lot of salmon here. We actually get your Norwegian salmon down here too. But I'm sorry to say it doesn't match ours. We've had both. It's like Tasmanian salmon. They farm a lot of salmon over in Tasmania as well. But it's not the same either.
I'm always amazed when I see the Norwegian fishing boats out. The ocean-going ones. They're enormous.
Yeah, they are.
They're almost like a ship in their own right.
They're about 3 ships.
Oh, the best salmon is the wild salmon, but we don't export that stuff.
Keep the good stuff.
They keep the best stuff for themselves, absolutely.
Now we sell the rights to fish, so a lot of the tourists come to fish in our rivers and stuff.
Yeah, the other one that always amazes me when you see documentaries about it is the tuna that's used for sushi. And obviously the really good stuff hasn't got any worms or anything in it, and it costs a fortune.
Yeah, I'm not sure the pricing on fishing in the river next to me here, but it's it's steep. It's always packed full of Germans and foreigners fishing here.
Yeah.
I think I'm off tuna now hearing that.
We're back on food again, aren't we?
Yeah.
Food channel.
Right.
Oh, come on down
The
to
man
the
that-
Southeast. We'll take you catfishing. You can stick your arm inside a mud hole and let the catfish actually bite it.
Okay, guys, the guys interested in drone fishing, go to YouTube and search Paul's, that's Papa Alpha Uniform Lima, fishing systems. Retail fishing store here in New Zealand that covers everything, and then you can see some really good videos on there that they've done on drone fishing.
But
Awesome.
this has to be a love thing, because there's no way this could be cost-effective, efficient fishing. For the amount of money you're spending on a drone versus the amount of money you would pay for a fish.
I think I paid $1,000 for my electric reel. I paid about $600 or $700 for the drone, and there was probably another $500 or $600 in all the other ancillary kit. No, as my son keeps telling me, the ROI is not particularly good.
That's
You
why
can
you
say
do
that
it
if-
because it's fun and you can, not because
Yeah,
it's
that's
saving
right.
you any money.
It's dead right. Cheaper to go down the road and buy some fish. But hey, there's nothing like going and catching fresh fish.
With
You know it's only ours with a drone. Oh, I still love going out in the boat, you know. Hey, my son was out in our boat. It's a little 18-foot tinny. Got a nice 100-horse Suzuki on it, and that. No, he had his son and his mates out in it the other day, and they hooked into something. Must have been a big carwai or a kingy or something like that, and it was peeling the line off. And all of a sudden, about 50 metres out behind the boat, a 4.5 metre great white shark leapt out of the water, dived back into the water, and they lost their fish real quick. It just went bang. Apparently it's been sighted out off our coast here a lot. It's a local resident apparently.
Ellis, this whole conversation just makes me mentally picture two things. One, you dropping depth charges on the fish from the drone. The other is having a discussion with the game warden to talk about what you're doing.
Sorry, this just takes me back to Crocodile Dundee 2, where he's throwing dynamite in the New York harbor and the fish are floating up to the top.
Yep.
Yeah, you get one of those old telephone things that you crank, you know, to run an old telephone. You throw the leaves in the water. Out here we call that dialing up some fish.
But game wardens, we call them fisheries inspectors. They'll take your boat off you if you break the rules.
I think they're all powerful everywhere in the world.
The power to confiscate.
I just want to watch the conversation.
Sir, the rules do not explicitly say that I cannot drop dynamite from a drone.
I think we've got rules that prevent you from doing that. Hey, this is a pretty part of the country, isn't it?
It is. I've had the sunset on the way in. It's been amazing.
So if you're interested, reaching down into a hole and grabbing a catfish is called noodling. So if you want something to Google, have that one too.
Yeah, that's
They
poor
call it
people fishing.
They call it tickling over here with the reed banks in some of the rivers. Yeah.
Yeah, we call it, hey y'all, watch this.
hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, I was watching Hannah Barron. She was noodling for catfishes. She's probably only about 120 pounds. She fished one out of a hole and weighed 54 pounds.
See, my luck, I'm going to find the one catfish that crossbred with a piranha.
And we never get the noodlers in the skinny bikinis. We only get the ugly guys with a beer belly.
Is this our final airfield?
Yes, it is. Well done, everybody.
That was quick.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really hungry as well.
We'll go for a cinnamon brioche now, Jonathan. Another nice cup of coffee. Really enjoyed flying this little plane today.
So when I did the series of videos about basic flying technique, it was the 152 I used for all of those. It works really well, and it's one of the aeroplanes that Asobo have put a lot more effort into than the other aeroplanes, so it flies more correctly than most of the others.
Coronado don't do a bad job on these, Jonathan.
No, but it's that the little Cessna 152 is bizarrely has got some of the most accurate aerodynamic modelling of any aeroplane in the sim.
You put this flight together, Joe?
Yes, sir. Sure did.
No, very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it a lot. Really nice. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I'm taxiing in the dusk. I had the runway just lit up and a beautiful sunset. And look at that moon up there. Must be, yeah, massive.
Yeah, would the owner of the pink Cessna please report to the paint shop?
I haven't got a pink Cessna. Where do you get one of those?
I don't know. It's parked next to me.
That is a lot of Cessnas.
HelloKitty.com.
Buddy, you must be over here. I see.
Out of arrogance, I'm parking next to this hawk or hunter.
I think it helped my performance with everyone flying the same plane.
Oh, there's another Kenmore. I wasn't the only one flying a Kenmore.
No, I'm in one.
Quite a nice livery, isn't it?
Yeah. Flew out of Lake Union in a couple of those.
Did get an A320 turn up. Be AI in the sim, I think. It's cool this all being in the same plane, eh?
It's quite unreal, isn't it?
It's quite a flying, isn't it, where they're all lined up?
Well, we should do another one and do one in the Beechcraft Baron.
That's a nice plane to fly.
Or the King Air.
Or the 208.
Yeah, remember it's got to be a plane that's in the basic flight sim if we do all the same aircraft.
Good.
Or we could do exclusive and do an invitation to everybody that's got the black square 208, and we have to fly that, and we all fly the same plane.
Very cool. And I actually remember to take some screenshots this evening as well.
So another one of the mad science projects flight plans I'm putting together is I'm trying to recreate the flight routes for Operation Neptune and use the C-47. So if anybody is interested in doing that as a flight, let me know. I will publish the flight plan, but it's pack a lunch long. It'll take a bit of time to do that route, but if you're interested, just let me know.
How long is the route?
It's several hours.
We could split it up in 2 events.
Yeah, it also thought about doing multiple flight plans. You take off different places and then it's all coalesce at a rendezvous point.
The 47 is a DC-3, right?
Yes.
Where I am now, Jonathan, is I'm right over Charlotte's house.
Yep. Right, I'm going to stop the live stream there. So thanks ever so much, everybody that came this evening, and thanks ever so much for the people that organised the flight as well. It was brilliant.
A lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks,
thanks,
Joe.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good week. See you tomorrow, maybe.
See you
Good
soon.
night, all.
Cheers.
Bye.